Hello, today I'm going to be having a look at putting a Hispeedido HDMI mod on a PlayStation 1. This is a SCPH 552, is it? 5502? 5502. It's got the PU18 board on it. So in the kit, we have a little nice bracket that replaces your serial port, so we need to remove the serial port, and that's your main board that goes there, and it just screws in where the old mountings were for it. And we also get this ribbon cable that we have to solder directly to the GPU, so we definitely need the microscope for this one, and it's a bit fiddly, but yeah, I'll show you how I go through it. Hopefully I won't make too many mistakes, and I'll show you some tips how not to wreck everything hopefully. Okay, so first thing I need to do is remove this serial port. Now for the main, oh yeah, this is the one I've already put that extension mod on. It's the one that came broken. We had to do little repairs on it. Just give that a little zoom in, see what I'm doing. For these small pins, I'm just using these desoldering guns. For the mounting pins, I have to use some desoldering braid. A couple of these I can see haven't fully come through, so what I'm going to do is stick a bit of flux on them just to help. Right, so let's have a look which ones. So we've got these three here, that one, these two. Stick a bit of flux on, that usually helps with a soldering gun. There we go. Right, now I'll just get my soldering iron and the wick that I always lose. I found a piece of it that I should have thrown in the bin, but bear with me, I'm just going to find the solder braid. Okay, I found it. Right, stick a bit of this gloopy gloop, gloop. Let's cut the end off of this braid. It's got a nice fresh bit. With these I like to get it in and then just work it through, as long as it doesn't fall to bits. It does help to cut this off, but I like to keep it on the reel to handle it. It's not the best thing, because it melts the it melts the plastic on the like the real bit, and also it takes all the heat up into the coil. But I just like doing that just so I've got something to hold on to, rather than holding some tweezers. You can sort of just give this a little bit of a slide because it's a bigger pad. It's safe to just sort of slide this along, and you suck a bit more of the solder up. Turn it round, get to the next side. And then whilst I'm at this side, I'll go at these bits from the insides. The sort of shape like they're like hooked over the legs. And most of the solder sits inside that hook shape. So what does that look like now? Move these yet? Still a little bit more on there. The other option's hot air, but I like to avoid hot air when I can, so it prevents me from causing more damage elsewhere. What does that look like? Can we come off yet? They bend. That bends. Right. See if it'll just come out now. There we go. I have got a box full of these now. I'm hoping someday someone has a use for them. Because if they do, I got loads of these. Yeah, there you go. Oops. Let's give that a little bit of a clean up. Just taking any of the old solder. I mean, this step's not essential, but it's nice just to have a nice clean board afterwards. Check the other side. Yeah, all looks good. Right. Next part, we need to take this heat shield off. There was a copper bit, but I pulled that off already when we were doing this mod over here. I like to start at this corner. You've got to be careful you don't burn your hand because it'll transfer the heat. I just like to get this melted enough so it starts to lift it off, let that cool down, and then just let it go, drop down. The reason why I do it like this rather than yanking on it is because if you pull on it, there's that much solder there, it'll just splatter all over you. You can go out with a solder wick first, but I like to do that afterwards. And this is just the quicker way of doing it. Right, and then this corner. Oh, actually, yeah, this corner. Again, just getting the heat in there, wait until it's all of it's melted. Probably a bigger soldering iron would be better for this. This one's to hand all the time, so it does the job. Oh, this one's quite a big one that goes all the way through. There we go. Then come back to this one here. This one's quite a large area. Just keep putting that heat in, moving it around. Just be real gentle. There we go. Should have done this one first, actually. And you need to be careful as well, you don't splash any of the solder onto any like nearby components. We can discard that now, or hang on to it if you want to, I don't know, keep it for another one that's got a rusty one in it or something. And just give these pads a bit of a clean up. This, like I say, this step's not like super essential, but it's nice just to get anything that's not meant to be there off. I'm not going to go mad with this, I'll be honest. I might just leave it for now. Just get these big blobs a bit smaller. And that's how you take the heat shield off. There's a couple of little prep bits we need to do after this. We've got to, the instructions call for insulating a couple of points. On here, but I'm going to, what I use is, I use a little bit of this solder mask stuff. When I put tape on and I'm soldering on top, the heat gets into the glue and it all moves about, and it's kind of fiddly to get a little bit of tape down there, so I find that this is a better solution. Right, so what I do for this is take a Q-tip and I just cut it to a point like that. Because this stuff is great stuff, but it really, I find it really messy. So you just get like the tiniest blob at the top. Just dip it in. I'm just going to go down on these exposed vias. Need a bit more than that, actually. There we go. And I work from further to the left and then over closer to the pins, because I don't want to get any on the pins, because that's where we're going to be soldering. Take a bit of that out there and then put it there. Yeah, I think that's got all of them. I think it's a like neater solution anyway. And then make sure you bin this, because if you put it down it'll make a mess. Try and get the lid on and just make sure I don't get any on my hands. It's horrible stuff. Right, then you need one of these little curing lamps. And you just put that on top. Right, once it's done, just give it a tiny tap. Make sure it's solid. Because with these bigger lumps, it can like, it can dry out on the top, but like, it looks dry, but it's actually wet still inside. And like when you start messing about, it breaks it and it goes everywhere. Like, yeah, that looks good. So as you can see, this, we need to get this soldered onto this. This is quite magnified quite a lot as well, and you can see the pitch in that is really small. So I'm going to get the microscope out. That'll help us a lot. Right, so start to offer this up to here. I'm just trying to find a bit of a alignment with it. because I'm also looking down the bottom. I'm going to try doing it a little bit different this time. I'm going to try and getting that top one up there on first. So it gives us a bit more flex once it's tacked down. See if that works. Try something a bit different. Right. So, oops. If I can find my finest solder. I'm using 0.3 for this because I like to get just a little tiny bit on the end of the soldering iron if it wants to do it. There we go. Right, I'm just going to get my tweezers and hold it down. Just put a little bit of material on the end there. Just going to hold it in place. Just tack it in. So we've got it held down. Now we can see our alignment and make sure. The only problem with this microscope is the arm's not long enough, so I've got to rotate it, make sure everything lines up. It's like the tiniest little bit. In fact, I bet if you held it down it'd actually be right there. Yeah, it's going to be right. So we need to get another point like tacked down now. So I'm just going to add a little bit to this top pad. This is moving around a lot because the board's hanging over the end of the base of the microscope. I need to get one that's on like an arm rather than it's got its own little table thing. Just got a tiny bit of solder on. Just going to rotate this a little bit just to make it easy for me to get in there. I'm just going to get at the edge. See how it's bridged across, but I've started at this end. I can just pull. Right, so when you make a bridge and you need to fix it and you're pulling and you're trying to draw it across, don't draw it across when you're near these pins, because what will happen is that thin and that fine that you'll actually bend the pins and they'll stick together, and it's an absolute nightmare to sort out. So you're best just doing this sort of method, pulling it down this way like that. In fact, this is a good opportunity to show you what I do if I get a bridge like that. And you can't just wick it off with a smaller tip. I get the bigger tip, my chisel tip, and you can just go like that, and it just wicks it straight off. Okay, right. Where've I put the other thing? Found the other thing. I think I need some new tips. These don't seem to be sticking right well. You put some more stuff down here. Right, and what I'm going to do, if we can get down to this bottom one, might have to spin this. I need to get better tools. Right. Just get a little bit of my, like the tiniest bit on the tip of my soldering iron. These are my least favourite to do. It's so fine. But the more you do it, the easier it becomes. It's not quite in focus. Let's get that in. There we go. Right, that's tacked down. I'm going to go back up to the top. See what a mess I can cause there. Right, I've just put some material on, but I want to go to one where there isn't any stuff on it all, because I just need to get back used to doing these finer ones again. As you can see, my hands aren't that steady. I'd rather a bridge on these bits than on there, because generally you can just sort of push it across. But yeah, what I want is nice little sausages across. I can see that the solder's sort of mixed in, like that. Again, cleaning the tip off as well each time, so we can just get it to, I think I'm just putting too much solder on. I think that's the problem. It's like the tiniest bit. You can do like drag solder, but I'm always wary of that, because every time I've tried to do it, I've always bent pins on these things. See how that makes a nice little bridge. That's it. I think we're getting into the floor now. Maybe I've had too much coffee today. Get a bit more on my tip. Just looking for these nice little connections across. So you get a little tiny bridge there. There we go. Now, these little, like, so I'm sure they'd work fine with like less solder on, but I've had it before where it's hard to tell if you've got a perfect connection or not, and it just helps. Well, it helps for me anyway with troubleshooting to see if we've got like this would be too much. Just pull that down a bit. Helps with me when I'm troubleshooting to see if I've got like this nice little sausage of solder across. you know, you can see a bit of that solder mask that I put coming through. I bet it didn't, I bet that's going to make a bit of a mess. Oh dear. Right, I'm just going to try clean that up. Right, my apologies. I just went off camera so I could sort this out. I've just gone. I had to just clean some more of that solder mask off. Yeah, because it started to seep through again. And I noticed, and why I was struggling a little bit as well, is it's not perfectly straight. And I think it's because I'm trying to record it and I'm not like right on top of it to see. But it must be slightly over the legs at the bottom. Now it's not causing any bridges or anything, but it is just slightly over, and that's causing the ribbon just to be just over the base of the legs, so it's lifted it up slightly. So I wasn't getting those nice sausages and I was struggling with it, but I think that looks all good. Taking that bridge off up there, I'm going to move over to like the audio side of it. I'll put that in. This can be a little bit fiddly. What I'm going to do, I'm going to try the method with a wedge tip because these are not as fine. Just got to remind myself how this goes. I'm sure it's yeah, it's them two. Yeah, it must be can't be them two. I'm going to solder them and see what happens. This is where it gets real fiddly because I've got to hold it down. I've got to get this soldering iron. Put a bit of solder on the tip, my wedge tip. And then I've got to hold this down and it wants to flex back. I did used to do this with blue tack and it did work, but the blue tack would melt and go everywhere. It did work though for holding it in place. It's real fiddly. The important thing is just to sort of get it tacked in. In fact, is it easy to hold this one in? Very fiddly. Bear with me, I'm going to have to try it slightly different. Very fiddly. So I'm going to put something heavy on the other side of the ribbon, so it's roughly in the right spot. So it's not fighting me all the time. And then I'm going to get this in the right spot using both hands. Right, and then somehow get a little bit of solder on the end of my tip. And for this one, I just want it to be tacked down so we're not bothered about any bridges or anything. I mean, even that's probably enough just to hold it. Yeah. Right, and then should be able to get a bit of solder on this side, and go. Whoops, just bridged it all. Use this to our advantage. Probably not. Probably all go wrong. Oh well. It's okay, we can wick that away. Just going to put a little bit more flux on there. Just keep wicking that away until that bridge is gone. There we go. What them connections look like. A bit messy. But I'm going to test it like that. Let's see if it works. We'll just build it back together. We'll put it back in its base with the power supply and we'll just see if that works. I do this before I put the controller cables on, so it gives a bit more space to play with. So just get this in, controller in. Actually, won't need the controller, but hey ho, it's in. And then with clippers board in. Make sure that's straight. That looks straight enough to me. That's better. And then there's this little bit he slides on, and then we're just going to mount it where the serial port was. This isn't the right screwdriver. Where's my better screwdriver? There it is. I'm just going to stick one screw in for now. All we're doing is testing it. Right, here goes nothing. Looking good. Yeah, it's bounced back to this, but it's got the lid open. Put my finger on the switch. Should go to the X station menu. That looks good to me. Sweet. Yep, happy with that. So next we'll get them menu buttons put in, the wires for the HDMI menus, so you can select all the options from the OSD through a controller. Wicked, nice one. Right, for this we've got 4 wires we need to attach to these 4 points here. You've got to be careful because, well, it doesn't really matter, but you can, sometimes it'll bridge across to this capacitor, which doesn't matter too much. The only thing is, it can be easy just to knock it off. So I'm going to try not do that. The first thing, we'll try and get some solder down and see if I have to, actually have to remove any solder mass from the top of these. Because I can't remember if you do or not. Last one I did of these was before Christmas, so struggling to remember. I went back to work and I struggled to remember anything about my job. Yeah, I don't know if it'll benefit actually from see how it's bridged that. Might just do that, bridge it across. The thing I've just told you not to do, I'm going to do it. just so we've got a bit more. A little bit more material to work with. Took us all wires all over the place. Now get the tweezers. This is a bit fiddly. I've bent mine. Just going to get a grip because it's a bit easier to manipulate. I do sometimes do this with a microscope as well, because it is a little bit fiddly. There's one. I'm just giving them a little bit of a kink as well in the end. So when it just gives it a bit of angle. Yeah, just give them a bit of a kink like this. It makes it easier to get them into that gap. So facing in the right direction. Just careful you don't knock the ones you've just done off as well. That's that one. There we go. Right, it's really important we solder these the right way around on it. But luckily they're in the order that left to right as they go on here. So it's more of a not forgetting which one goes where, but getting them tangled up, sort of switcherooed around. That can be the issue with these. Just get them blobs on there ready. Tell you what, I don't like that solder. It seems to use a lot of flux. I wonder if it's just got really bad, because it's supposed to be flux cord. So I wonder if it's just really bad flux that they use. But I'm just making sure I've got the first one on there. Get that in. And then this is the second one. Still not impressed with that flux. It looks real dull. One thing we need to do before we forget, use our included bit of tape. I haven't cut this to size, but it's fine, I guess. Gives it more stuff to hold on to. This is just to stop these from shorting out on the metal shielding, which we've got to do a little bit of work on. Actually, bear with me, I'm just going to bring this camera a little bit further up. Right, we need to make some modifications to this. Where's my pliers? Can't find my pliers. I'm just going to do wire cutters and hopefully it won't blunt them. Is we need to take this little bit off here. Now I'm not sure the instructions tell you to do this one as well. You definitely have to take this off. And I can't remember if I've got to take that one off. I think I do. Bear with me, I'm just going to check that. Yeah, we do have to take that one off because it'll crash with this corner here. So I just use, ideally I'd be using my pliers and not my wire cutters because this is probably going to wreck them, but they've come a bit blunt anyway. I need to replace them. Just give it a bit of fatigue and it'll just come off. Like that. So then, you start putting some screws back in. And stick one of these in first, lightly, then get your other one in, and then just try and, because there's a little bit of give in this, just want to try and get it sort of straight. So when you're looking at the back, I want to clean that off whilst we're here. I made it worse. Yeah, that's it. Because when you're putting it, so when you're putting HDMI cable in it, it's not hanging out at an angle. It's nice and straight. We've got 2 more screws to put. Oh, sorry, 3 more screws to put in before we put the shielding back on. Make sure our ribbon it's sort of tucked under there, which is fine. That can go over or under, it doesn't really matter. There we go. Right. So, get our shield back on. Make sure we get our extension bits. What can happen if you don't cut both of these off? I don't know where it shorts out, but it pushes down on. Maybe it's the under shielding it pushes down on, the one underneath. And it'll start popping fuses, and it's really confusing. You're like, how can it be popping a fuse? And then you take the lid off and it's fine. Like the first one I did, there was one of them pieces I didn't take off. And I spent ages trying to figure out, because when the shield one screwed down, it had worked fine, and when it was screwed down, it had popped a fuse. And it took me a while to figure out that the instructions don't tell you to take both of them tabs off. Maybe they've updated it now. I did notice a few people complaining about it. And put the extension stuff in. It's always a little bit fiddly. Not as fiddly as it was in the LCD mod video. Another video I did where I put an LCD into the lid of an original fat PlayStation. There was a whole heap of wires going on there, and it was an absolute nightmare to put that back together. Got that there. And just bear with me, because I've just remembered the lid's all in bits because I took it apart to clean it. I've got the lid. I'm just opening that up so I can just line it up better with this. X station. Close that. Oh god, don't get solder stuck in there. I'll just stick some screws in. They're not the right ones. Oh, where are they? Oh, never mind. We're going to use internal ones now. I'm going to take this back apart again anyway, because there's still a little bit of cleaning to do on it. But for the purpose of this video, I will use internal screws on the outside, because they are the same apart from they're just coated differently. I'm just going to put a couple of screws in. We're just going to give it one last, actually I'll put this one put this one in, just in case it's not clamped enough for that, for the drive door switch. And we'll go give this a test with a controller, and we can make sure that part of it's working. Right, just got to test out that controller. Right. I've also put an SD card in there. I'll just do this. I found that controller, the OSD stuff doesn't always work in this, in that start menu. So you know what? I think this is a controller where select doesn't work on it. I'm sure it is. And I need that. Bear with me 2 seconds. Right, here we go. So I've got a good controller in. There we have it. Alright, and there you have it. And as you can see, when it's all put back together, you get this nice OEM looking connector on the back. That looks cool. And it'll plug in any TV with a HDMI port, and yeah, it's great stuff. Paired with Xstation, it's awesome. So yeah, give us a thumbs up if you like this kind of stuff, and a subscribe. And I'll be making more of these things and videos. Yay. Peace out.